rain poured relentlessly over the empty streets of Karachi that night, blurring neon lights into shimmering puddles. Inside a dimly lit convenience store, a single father named Adil stood at the counter, gripping a carton of milk and a loaf of bread, the only things he could afford for his little daughter. He didn't know that within the next 10 minutes, his life would collide with a billionaire CEO's, and that one desperate, heroic act would change everything he'd ever known. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness, where true emotions, second chances, and unseen heroes come alive through powerful stories. The struggle of a single father, Adil had once been a man of confidence, a martial arts instructor for a private security firm in Dubai. But life had its way of humbling even the strongest. After his wife Zainab lost her battle with cancer 2 years ago, Adil quit everything to care for his daughter Noor, who was barely 6. They returned to Pakistan, moving into a tiny rented room behind an auto workshop. His savings ran out quickly, and now he worked double shifts as a mechanic. His hands always dirty, his soul always heavy. Every night after putting Noor to bed, Adil would whisper the same promise to her photo on the wall: "I'll give her the life you wanted, Zainab. Just give me time." But time was cruel. Rent was overdue, Noor's school fees were pending, and the landlord's patience was wearing thin. Adil had begun losing hope. That's why he was out late that night, trying to buy the cheapest groceries before heading home. He had no idea that fate had already started writing his redemption. The night of the incident, the air outside was thick with the smell of rain and diesel. Adil noticed a black SUV pull up across the street. From it stepped a sharply dressed man in his mid-40s, tall, confident, with an aura of someone used to control. Samir Qureshi, the CEO of Qureshi Tech, one of the biggest tech firms in Pakistan. Samir was known in business circles as cold and ruthless, a man who built empires but never smiled for the cameras. Tonight, he looked like any ordinary customer, stepping into the same small store where Adil stood. Their eyes met briefly. Adil gave a polite nod. Samir, preoccupied, didn't notice. Moments later, 3 men burst into the shop, faces covered, one of them wielding a pistol. "Everyone on the ground!" the gunman shouted. The cashier froze. Samir turned, startled. Adil's body reacted instinctively, years of dormant training flashing back like muscle memory. The robbers demanded cash and valuables. Samir tried to stay calm but couldn't hide the expensive watch on his wrist. "You," one of them barked. "Give that watch." Now, Samir hesitated, a fatal mistake. The robber raised his gun, aiming directly at him. Adil's heart pounded. In that split second, something primal awakened inside him. Without thinking, he moved, swiftly, silently. He grabbed a bottle from the shelf and hurled it toward the gunman's hand. The gun fired, but the bullet missed its mark, shattering a glass display. Then Adil lunged. His movements were sharp and precise, years of martial arts discipline bursting alive after years of suppression. Within seconds, he disarmed the first robber, knocked down the second, and immobilized the third with a fierce grip around his wrist. The store was filled with chaos, then silence. Samir stared in disbelief at the man who had just saved his life. A humble hero. When the police arrived, the robbers were already subdued. The CCTV footage showed everything: Adil's fearless, controlled defense. The officers praised him, but Adil just shrugged it off. "Anyone would have done the same," he said quietly, glancing at the clock. "I need to get home to my daughter." Samir stepped forward, offering his hand. "You saved my life. At least let me thank you properly." Adil smiled faintly, shaking his head. "Sir, I didn't do it for thanks. Just be careful. It's late out here." And with that, he disappeared into the night rain. Samir stood frozen, watching the man walk away, his shirt torn, his shoes muddy, but his dignity shining brighter than any suit or tie. The CEO's search over the next few days, Samir couldn't stop thinking about Adil. He'd seen courage before, in boardrooms, in business battles, but not like that. Not that selfless. He had his assistant pull security footage, trying to identify the man who saved him. Meanwhile, Adil returned to his routine, fixing cars by day, struggling with bills by night. Noor's school had sent another warning letter. He was losing faith, wondering how long he could keep fighting. One afternoon, as he was tightening a bolt under a car, a sleek black SUV stopped outside the garage. Samir stepped out. Adil looked up, startled. "Sir, what are you doing here?" "I owe you a debt I can't repay," Samir said calmly. "And I intend to try." The job offer over tea at a roadside stall, Samir listened as Adil spoke about his life, his late wife, and his daughter. His words were simple, but his pain was deep. Samir, who had built everything yet felt emotionally bankrupt, found himself strangely humbled. "I was trained in close protection," Adil explained, "but I left that world. My daughter's all I have now." Samir leaned forward. "What if I told you I could give you both a better life? I want you to work for me as my personal security officer. You have a rare skill, Adil. You saved me once. I'd rather have you by my side than any corporate guard." Adil hesitated. It sounded too good to be true, but he saw sincerity in Samir's eyes. "I'm not offering charity," Samir added softly. "I'm offering respect." For the first time in years, Adil felt seen, not as a broken man, but as someone of value. He accepted. New beginnings. Adil's life transformed overnight. Samir arranged a comfortable apartment for him and Noor. He enrolled Noor in a good school and gave Adil a uniform position at his corporate office. At first, Adil felt out of place among polished executives, but his quiet discipline, punctuality, and sincerity soon earned respect from everyone. Noor began smiling again, laughing like a child should. Adil would catch her twirling in her new school uniform and whisper a silent prayer of gratitude. Samir often observed them from afar, father and daughter walking hand in hand. Something stirred in him. He, too, had lost his wife years ago to an accident and had buried his emotions under work. But Adil's bond with Noor reminded him of what truly mattered. An unlikely friendship over months, Samir and Adil's relationship evolved beyond employer and employee. Samir would invite him to dinner, sometimes even to family events. They shared stories, one of corporate wars, the other of survival and loss. Slowly, Samir rediscovered empathy, and Adil rediscovered hope. But peace never lasts forever. One evening, after a major business deal was announced, Samir received threats from a rival company involved in illegal dealings. Adil insisted on doubling security. Samir laughed it off, until danger came knocking again. The second attack had happened during a late-night press conference. A group of armed men stormed the venue, aiming for Samir. Panic erupted. Security froze. Adil, positioned near the entrance, reacted instantly, shielding Samir with his own body, guiding him through the chaos. He fought fiercely, every movement deliberate, protective, fearless. Bullets grazed his arm, but he didn't stop until Samir was safe. When the police arrived, the assailants were caught. Adil, bleeding but standing tall, simply said, "You're safe now, sir." Samir's eyes filled with tears. Tears he hadn't shed in years. "You risked your life again for me," he whispered. Adil smiled weakly. "Some things are worth protecting." The transformation after that night, Samir didn't just see Adil as an employee. He saw him as family. He promoted him to head of security, giving him a salary that changed his entire world. Noor now had the life her mother had dreamed of, a stable home, education, and laughter echoing through clean, sunlit rooms. One evening, as they sat on the balcony overlooking the city lights, Samir said quietly, "Adil, you didn't just save my life. You reminded me how to live it." Adil looked down at his daughter playing nearby. "You gave me something too, sir, a chance to be proud again." Months later, Samir announced a new company initiative, the Guardian Program, providing free martial arts and self-defense training to underprivileged kids, inspired by Adil's courage. At the launch, Adil stood beside him, humbled, tears in his eyes as the crowd applauded. From a man forgotten by the world to a symbol of strength and kindness, Adil's journey was proof that even the smallest acts of bravery can ripple into miracles.